Hello! It's certainly taken me long enough, but I'd say it's high time I finally got around to talking about Golden Sun the Lost Huh? Whoa! Seriously, platforming genre? You're still mad that RPGs took first place? Yes! But I did a platformer last time, and we both know why you did a platformer last time. Well, at least I did one, didn't I? I know what you have in the pipeline, but I do something else. Fine. Gubble. We're doing Gubble. What is Gubble? A game from my early childhood. Is it an RPG? Come on, you know I didn't have any RPGs back then. It's an arcade-style puzzle game. Does it have RPG elements? No, none whatsoever. Does it have platforming elements? The sequel kind of does? Well, I guess I'm doing this now. You know, if there's one thing I really appreciate about the constant re-releases of classic games on modern consoles, it's that I've been able to track down just about all the games I played as a kid, but for whatever reason lost access to. The SNES games I played at my cousin's house are on NSO these days, except Super Mario RPG. What are you doing, Nintendo? The Sonic ports I played on PC were easy to find again. Age of Empires and classic RuneScape are right there. Humongous Entertainment has a huge library on Steam. And who knows, maybe I'll review Echo the Dolphin one of these days. But one Steam re-release that caught me by surprise was none other than Gubble. A game that's right up with these as some of my earliest gaming experiences. Anyone else remember Gubble? Anyone? Huh. Well, I've always been under the impression that this is something of an obscure one, but I've never been able to dig up any sales figures on this game, so I really don't know, I guess. Though Steam informs me that I'm not completely alone in looking back at this game fondly, so let's talk about it. Gubble was first released on PC in 1997, published by Actual Entertainment, though the company would eventually be renamed to Lanzinger Studio, after its foremost member, Franz Lanzinger. This wasn't his first project, though, as he already had experience working on the successful arcade game Crystal Castles, which has more than a few resemblances to Gubble. Gubble clearly did well enough, getting a direct sequel in 1998 and a racing game in 2000. Though out of these three, the first game is the only one currently available. Gubble 1 got around, actually, making its way to the original PlayStation and later the PlayStation Store. In 2007, Gubble got a remake in the form of Gubble HD, with this version releasing on PC, iOS, and eventually Steam. So, what's this game about? Does it have a plot? Kind of? In true retro fashion, you only find the plot in the instruction manual, and it's something, alright. The titular Gubble de Gleep, an alien who loves sleeping, is suddenly abducted by a robot who mistook him for someone else and forces Gubble to help him counter a group of space pirates who attacked a planet called Renegar. And by attacked, I mean they attached maze-like areas called Zimbots to the planet, and now you have to undo the Zimbots' fasteners with oversized tools? Whatever. Just dismantle all the Zimbots, and then you can go home. As for the game itself, it's basically what would happen if you took Pac-Man, a Teletubby, and a toolbox, and fused them all together into this weird little package. You're thrown into these mazes, and have to use the tools to undo the fasteners while using your hover pod to avoid enemies. In Pac-Man-esque fashion, you beat the level by removing all the fasteners, but unlike Pac-Man and his power pellets, you don't really have any way of fighting back against the enemies. The Gubble games advertise themselves as non-violent games, but that doesn't mean that there isn't violence, it just means that only the enemies are allowed to do it. I admire the effort to provide clean and peaceful entertainment, guys, but I must inform you that the enemies that left the biggest impression on me as a kid were the killer robots that shot missiles at me. so I'm not sure how to rate your performance here. The levels have some optional minigames and some hidden, extra challenging Zimbots to track down, but it all comes back around to the core loop of grabbing the tools, undoing the corresponding fasteners, and moving on. So, how much fun is it? Quite a lot, actually. You're always kept on your toes between avoiding enemies and scanning the mazes to see how to go about solving them. Then there's the music. Not all the tracks stuck with me, but they fit well with the arcade style the game's going for, and a few of them are really catchy. On the game's negative side, there are some things to talk about. Let's start with the one you've probably noticed already. The visuals aren't anything to write home about. Even with the HD version of the game, the environments are just kind of lifeless. Would have been cool if each of the worlds had their own central theme, or if the levels got progressively more menacing looking as you delve deeper into space pirate territory, but as it is, the levels just kind of blend together for the most part, and not just on the visual front either. The game is surprisingly long, with 10 worlds and 104 levels. 150 if you do the optional ones. The game does enough to keep things interesting, dialing up the difficulty while introducing new enemies, tools, obstacles, and so forth, but it still starts to feel samey after a while. Definitely a game made to be played in short bursts rather than longer play sessions. And, yeah, that's about it, really. There's admittedly not a lot to this game, but at the end of the day, Gubble clearly wasn't meant to be a massive, groundbreaking title or anything. It was meant to be good, simple fun, and it excels at that. To anyone who didn't grow up with it like I did, I doubt this game would amount to much more than a distraction. But I did grow up with it, and in the youngest years that I can remember, I clearly really liked this purple dork because I spent a concerning amount of time imitating him and the alien gibberish that comes out of his mouth. And he sounds like this.
Wow, secretly slippery. Hey, come
I fully accept my older brother's assessment that I was a weird little kid back then.